So far this summer, Arsenal have made 5 signings: Matt Turner, Marquinhos, Fabio Vieira, Gabriel Jesus, and Olexsandr Zinchenko. Since the signing of Zinchenko, the focus has been on outgoings, with Bernd Leno, Lucas Torreira, and Pablo Mari all leaving the club in the last week, while the likes of Hector Bellerin and Alex Runnarsson have been linked with exits as well. Regardless of whether or not Arsenal will make any more signings, it has been a successful window for Arteta and Edu. They have signed players who offer a blend of experience, talent, leadership, and versatility. These attributes are illustrated in the signing of Zinchenko, a player with 4 Premier League titles who has played in one of the most dominant sides to have ever graced the Premier League, a captain of his country, and a hybrid between a left-back and a central midfielder. With this, who is Olexsandr Zinchenko? What will he bring to Mikel Arteta's Arsenal? And will the Ukrainian be a success for the Gunners? In 2014, Zinchenko, who was just 17 years old, was forced to flee his home country after Russian troops moved into the Donetsk region. At the time, Zinchenko was captain of Shakhtar Donetsk under-19 team and was regarded as one of the most promising talents in the country. In fact, earlier that year, it was none other than Arsene Wenger, who had watched Shakhtar play Arsenal in the UEFA Youth League, who took 20 minutes to assess the potential of Zinchenko and demanded that Arsenal sign the midfielder. However, just a few months later, Zinchenko and his family fled Ukraine, and the youngster was forced to terminate his contract with Shakhtar. His family moved to Russia, and without a club in a new country, things were extremely tough for the teenager. Initially, he was forced to play in the streets and small amateur tournaments to maintain his fitness, with the hope that he'd eventually be picked up by a team. A whole year later, in 2015, Russian side FC Ufa signed Zinchenko, and just 6 months after making his professional debut for Ufa, he won his first cap for the Ukrainian national team. The summer of 2016 proved to be pivotal for the midfielder, who played twice in the Euros before Manchester City came calling. A whole 6 years later, Zinchenko now leaves Manchester with 10 trophies, a handful of caps, and a player who has already pretty much achieved everything within the club game. As Arsenal have proven in the last 2 transfer windows, they have a clear and coherent transfer strategy that is not solely dependent on a singular player's arrival. We must not forget that Arsenal initially hoped to sign Jules Koundé last summer, but when the Frenchman informed the club he was unwilling to join, they turned to none other than Ben White. Furthermore, Arsenal shifted to Aaron Ramsdale only after the club realized it would be impossible to pursue a move for Brentford's David Raya. A deal with Bologna for Takahiro Tomiyasu came together in the final hours of deadline day after Arsenal had pursued several alternatives throughout last summer's window. Zinchenko is yet another player who is technically the second option for Arsenal. As we know, Arsenal were initially planning to sign Lisandro Martinez, but ultimately when Manchester United entered the race, they held 2 significant advantages. First and foremost, the defender was keen to reunite with Erik ten Hag, while the Argentine's preference was also to play as a centre-back, whereas Arsenal had envisioned him as a left-back. Once again, as was the case with White, Ramsdale, and Tomiyasu, I think it's safe to say that Arsenal have lucked out. Arteta is a long-term admirer of Zinchenko and worked with the player extensively during his time at City. The Ukrainian can operate in similar zones to Martinez, starting at left-back but moving into midfield in possession, but comes with Premier League experience and was £30 million cheaper. All in all, with Zinchenko, Arsenal are signing a player who improves their depth at both left-back and centre midfield. While Arsenal made significant strides last season, they still needed to make big improvements within certain areas of their squad. Ultimately, having different ways to line up and giving opponents multiple problems to solve is just one way to do that, and Zinchenko will be able to help on that front, whether he is picked at left-back or in midfield. A leader, an Arsenal fan since his youth, and an immense talent who is still only 25 years old, Zinchenko represents everything that Arsenal and Arteta value. A player who will be adored by Arsenal fans, players, and coaches alike. This is just a start for Olexsandr Zinchenko. So much so that he already has his very own song.